Munyarwanda fasha dusindagizanye herekeza undinde kurira kuko muri njye nawe niho hari icyizere cy'u Rwanda
turibuka Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi turwanya ingengabitekerezo ya Genocide dushyigikire ibi byiza twagezeho turibuka Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi turwanya ingengabitekerezo ya Genocide dushyigikire ibi byiza twagezeho
ananiwe atabasha no kuvuga kuko we yahageze bamaze kumutema yahageze ari kumwe n'utwana twe tune iyo wababonaga bahari nkurikirane yageze kuri bariyeri abo yahasanze bamukubaho uruziga we yageze kuri bariyeri abo yahasanze bamukubaho uruziga yarafite imbaraga nke maze ariyicarira akana ke ko mu mugongo kari kakomeje kurira kamusabaga ibyo kurya maze akabura icyamuha bamusabye k'uwo mwana yarahetse yamururutsa uwo mubyeyi abasaba imbabazi ati umwana wanjye ararwaye aratakamba basaba imbabazi ati umwana wanjye ararwaye bamujishuye uwahetse uwo mubyeyi amanika ukuboko ati mbere yuko munyica reka ngira icyo mbasaba ati ndabizi ko munyica ndabibona ko nta makiriro ati ndabizi ko munyica ndabibona ko nta makiriro kunyica ni munyice ariko mundekera abana niba namwe muri ababyeyi nimundekera abana niba namwe mwarabyaye ndabinginze nimundekera abana. Iryo jambo rya nyuma yavuze iteka rimpora ku mutima. Iryo jambo umubyeyi yavuze ngurwo urukundo.
Representative here present, Acting UN Resident Coordinator, Excellencies, Member of Diplomatic Corps, Representative of Families of UN staff victim of genocide against the Tutsi, Head of UN agencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. My name is Sophie Mtoniwase, and I'm here joining my colleague Didier Habimana. It is a profound honor of us to serve as the master of ceremony today. On behalf of UN Rwanda, we welcome you as we gather to commemorate and pay a tribute to the victim of 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
32 years ago, in the same period, Rwanda has endured one of the darkest chapters of human history, the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. More than 1 million people, primarily Tutsis, were massacred, were killed, men, children, and women. There are some entire families that were erased completely with unimaginable cruelty. Today, we are here to remember. Kuri mwaje muje kwibuka imiryango ndetse n'abavandimwe bazi genocide yakorewe abatutsi muri 1994. Turababwira ngo mpore kandi umura komera. Mpore kubera yuko wabuza bawe, humura ntago uri wenyine, kandi komera ukomeze wibuke wiyubaka. Today we are gathered in this place to reflect, and we are reminded that the genocide of violence is never spontaneous. The genocide against the Tutsi emerged after decades of discrimination, of hate speech, and of dehumanization. So right now, I will ask Sophie to take us through the program of today as we continue to reflect and remember the victims of 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
Thank you. I think we all have agenda, but we are going to start with the prayer, but we will start with the minute of silence. And we will also have a time to go through the video presentation, the animation of the narration, names of the UN staff, victims of 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and we'll also have the welcome remarks by our acting UN resident coordinator. Then after we'll have the profile of a story of Emmanuel Gwebutso, a son of former UN staff member killed in 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the story that will be helping us to showcase the resilience of survivors and the journey in rebuilding and contributing to Rwanda's socio-economic transformation. We will also have a time for song, and we'll follow up with the testimony and remarks by representative of the UN staff victim families of the genocide against the Tutsi. I will also have a moment of the song, and we'll continue with the remarks by the guest of honor, Honorable Minister, and we will have a special time to remember the victim of a genocide against the Tutsi. We will have also the vote of thanks, and it will be the closing of this moment.
Right now, at this juncture, for those of you who are able, let me kindly ask you to stand as we observe a moment of silence. ni umwanya wo gutuza kugira ngo twibuke abazi jenoside yakorewe abatutsi. Nyuma yaho turaza kwakira pastor udusengera. Kadusabe Fidel Habimana adufashe mu gusenga.
Thank you. Dear brothers and sisters gathering here, in this time, we are commemorating the genocide committed against the Tutsi in 1994. All UN agencies and Rwandan in general remember our people who were killed regardless of their birth. There are no words that can be said to restore a broken heart. Only the word of God tells us that there is a hope. There will be a hope. Let's start by reading the scripture in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs 12, verse 2 to 3, where it says that good people obtain favor from the Lord, but he condemns those who devise wicked schemes. No one can be established through weakness, but the righteous cannot be uprooted. Also in the book of Job 14, verses 7 to 9, it is said that at least there is a hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again, and its new shoots will not fail. Its roots may grow old in the ground and stump die in the soil. Yet, at the scent of water, it will bud and put forth shoot like a plant. Amen. So, as everyone knows, God created the people in his image with love and purpose. None of us choose how we are born. I mean our appearance, how we look like, how attractive we are, tall or short, or our identity. Because whatever we are pleases God who created us. However, at that time, the devil, Satan, put discrimination in some people, and they accepted it because if they did not accept it, there would be no genocide. So they agreed to be used badly to kill their fellow Tutsi, killing more than 1 million innocent Tutsi in just 3 months. But the word of God said that however does evil belongs to Satan, and sooner or later he will not win. Rather, he who walks well will be victorious and will be rewarded by heaven. We give thanks to God for using other Rwandan people, RPF Inkotanyi, who had good will and good intention, who worked to stop the genocide and also restore hope to our nation. Through their efforts, Rwanda has been able to rebuild on a foundation of unity and shared identity. And God helped and enabled them to give a good political line to the country that now runs the state of the unity of Rwanda. Now, in the past 32 years, we have witnessed healing and reward, like the tree described in the book of Job. What once seemed destroyed has begun to grow again. Survivors have found strength, communities have been rebuilt, and the spirit of unity has taken root. We thank very much for using the government of unity of Rwandans, because we are no longer in a time of ethnic groups that destroyed the Tutsi, but we are all Ndumunyarwanda, where we all consider ourselves Rwandans. In a moment like this, we are reminded of the word of Jesus Christ, who said, "Oh, you who are weary and burdened, come to me, and I will give you rest." Even in the suffering, he brings comfort, healing, and peace. And when Jesus Christ himself was tested and killed, he was able to save all those who were tested. The Lord, we trust in the one who will give us complete rest and take away all the pain that will help our hearts. Let us draw near to him, who is the living stone that will build and is strong, and not to toss by the wave around. Because we are with our lost ones who are among us, be comforted and strong, because Jesus has now won and is among us. Peace and tranquility prevail. Ukomeze igihugu cyacu, ukomeze abasigajwe n'ibibazo bya Genocide, abasigajwe inyuma, abagize ibibazo bitandukanye, kuko uri Imana nziza, uri Imana ikomeye. Twasomye ijambo rivuga ngo naho igiti cyatemwa kizongera gishibuke n'icyumva amazi, kandi twabonye ko hari Mana ushobora byose, ibyo wakoze muri imyaka yose ishize ubikoresheje abantu bawe, ubikoresheje leta yacu. Reka ukomeze uyihe imbaraga, uduhe umurongo mwiza, uduhe gukomeza gushyira hamwe, kandi Mana ushobora byose udushoboze kugira umumaro, tugirira umumaro igihugu cyacu n'imiryango yacu, no kugirira umumaro isi. Urakoze Data, komeza utugirire neza, kandi n'ababuze ababo komeza udufashe, dukomeze. Ni mu izina rya Yesu Kristo umwami wacu dusenze twizeye, amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fidel, for prayer. Honorable Minister, this is the time for candle writing, and we would like to request for you and UN representative coordinator, UN resident coordinator, to step forward and go to the memorial plaque for candle lighting. Ushers, they will be there to support us.
And right now, I would like to ask the tech team to play a song, but also to remind you that the candle we're going to light is a symbol of hope, is a symbol of our shared commitment that we're not going to tolerate any hatred and discrimination anymore.
Numwanya wo gucana urumuri, turagira ngo mu gihe barimo kugaruka biraza kudufasha ko natwe muraza kubona kendo ziri imbere yanyu twese, hanyuma turaza kuzicana twibuka abacu bazize Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi 1994. Ushers protocol muraza kudufasha kugira ngo ducane urumuri. Thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to request everyone to have the candle lighting in front of, to honor the victim. Thank you so much. I think this is a very important moment. Protocol, you can walk around and see everybody with the candle lighting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will also ask again the UNCG, the United Nations Communication Group, or the tech team to play the video narrating the names of our UN colleagues, the UN staff who were killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. We can just watch the names on the screen as we pay tribute to them.
In the heart of Africa lies Rwanda, a nation with a tragic yet resilient history. Rwanda has faced immense sorrow and loss. The genocide against the Tutsi claimed more than 1 million lives, which left Rwandans devastated.
It was a harrowing chapter in human history, marked by unspeakable atrocities and unimaginable suffering. The world had turned upside down. Friends turned against friends, and colleagues became adversaries in senseless spiral of violence.
Our colleagues from different UN agencies were not spared. Among them were brave individuals who dedicated their lives to peace, humanity, development, health, child protection, and other noble causes, serving on the front lines of conflict resolution and humanitarian aid. They too became victims.
Turibuka
Butera Innocent, Kakwavu Abdurrahman, Habyarimana Siridion, Kabanda Thérèse, Kanamugire Fulgence,
Kayijamahe Angelique, Kayiranga Prote, Kayitaba Felix, Kayitanirwa Hélène, Kayitesi Console,
Makara Laurent, Baga Laurent, Banziriza Emmanuel, Mubirigi Ignace, Mujyarugamba Ignace,
Mukabarisa Josephine, Ndayisaba Festus, Nduwayezu Epaphrodite, Ngirumpatse Florence, Nyabutsitsi Aloys.
Ntituzabibagirwa.
Their names may have faded from the headlines, but their legacy lives on in our hearts and the countless lives they touched by their service as UN staff.
Turibuka
Kalisa Charles, Karinganiye Laurent, Kayibanda Aloys, Kayitare Jerome, Kayitsinga Eugène,
Rushemeza Dansila, Gwasimitana Théoneste, Sefaranga Bernard, Sindikugabo Jean Damascène, Gihana Jean Nepomucène,
Senyana Jean, Tuyisenge Pauline, Kayirangwa Florence, Mukabasiza Josephine, Rutanga Pierre,
Rukanika Langin, Mukandinda Rahab, Shimiyimana Viateur, Rudaseswa Michel, Rudasingwa Théogène.
Ntituzabibagirwa. Turibuka
Bwahaya Antoine, Kayumba André, Mazimpaka Hassan, Mugenzi Saidi, Shogozabahizi Joseph,
Ntashamaje Auguste, Turatsinze Emmanuel, Ugira Sekuru Etienne, Urwinyambo Pinier, Gasana François,
Gashagaza Gaspard, Gisa Jean-Baptiste, Mukashefu Odette, Mwigishwa Albert, Nyakagaragu Janvier,
Rugema Sixte, Rutagengwa Théophile, Rutayigirwa François, Senjiji Anisette, Twagirayezu Marcel,
Musabe Anne, Sengimana Asiel, Kalido Cassien, Kaitesi Bernadette, Kalisa Martin,
Kayitare Bernard, Nkogoma Emmanuel, Ntampaka Valérie,
Innocent Carrera,
ntituzabibagirwa.
Today, we come to honor their memory and reaffirm our commitment to never again. Their sacrifices will forever be etched in the archives of history, reminding us of the importance of standing up against hatred and injustice.
Yet, from this pain, Rwanda has shown resilience. Over 3 decades, the country has rebuilt, reconciled, and united. Today, Rwanda stands as a testament to courage, visionary leadership, and strength of its people. As the United Nations, we reaffirm our commitment to stand with Rwanda, supporting its path to peace, development, and dignity for all.
May their souls rest in peace, and may their legacy inspire us to build a world of peace and tolerance for generations to come. The United Nations will always endeavor to respect the principle of diversity and non-discrimination.
Ihorere, ihorere, mwana washavuye, ufite umuryango mugari, uza kumara intimba. Ihorere, 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 mwana washavuye.
Murakoze, tuzahora tubibuka. Their legacy will stay in our heart. Honorable Minister, it's a time for the welcome remarks by the UN Resident Coordinator, Mrs. Fatmat. You're welcome.
Nyakubahwa Ministre w'Ububanyi Nyamahanga Olivier Nduhingihire. Dearest survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, we welcome you with the deepest respect and gratitude. Dear family members of our fallen UN staff and colleagues, Vice President of Ibuka, and representatives of genocide survivor organizations, Excellencies, ambassadors, and high commissioners, senior government representatives here present, my colleagues, heads of UN agencies that are here, colleagues of the UN family, colleagues from development partner organizations and civil society, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mirweneza, good afternoon, bon après-midi, murakaza neza muri UN. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 24 hours in a day. And we know we have 7 days in a week. That gives us 168 hours in a week. If we follow scientists who require us to sleep for 8 hours a day, 56 hours of the 168 hours we spend sleeping. If we follow organizations that give us standards for working 8 hours a day, which normally we do way beyond, we are spending 40 to 60 hours a week in the office. So what happens at the office with colleagues, what happens among us, is an essential part of our life, and it stays with us forever. That's why today, 22nd April 2026, we mark Kwibuka 32, the 32nd solemn commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, observed where we observe during 100 days of national mourning. The United Nations family in Rwanda gathers today to remember our colleagues who were among more than 1 million Tutsis killed during those 100 days under the enduring theme, Remember, Unite, Renew. We gather to mourn. We gather to honor, to bear witness, and to reaffirm our shared responsibility to ensure that such atrocities must never happen again to anyone, anywhere in the world. Allow me to begin by expressing sincere gratitude to the government and the people of Rwanda, represented here today by our esteemed guest honor, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Your presence is deeply appreciated and truly meaningful to the UN family in Rwanda. Rwanda has shown the world that even in the aftermath of unimaginable tragedy, a nation can choose unity over division, reconciliation over hatred, justice over impunity, and hope over despair. That choice, made under the most difficult circumstances, stands as Rwanda's enduring gift to humanity, a lot to be copied anywhere else in the world. I would also like to acknowledge, with the deepest respect and heartfelt gratitude, the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, who are here with us today, including Ibuka. This is an organization of survivors, whose very name means remember. In Ibuka, I remember, in Kinyarwanda. You carry wounds that the world cannot fully comprehend. You have lived through loss that no words can measure. And yet, with remarkable strength and resilience, you have rebuilt your lives, your families, and your communities with dignity and with purpose. We stand in solidarity with you, and we say, Turikumwe, we are with you. I also extend my heartfelt appreciation to the families of our fallen UN colleagues who are with us today. They are not just colleagues. They were mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, sisters and brothers. They served this organization and the people of Rwanda with dedication and humanity. Their names are remembered, not only on the memorial on where we will lay our wreaths later, but their names are remembered in our hearts. Their service is honored, their legacy lives on, and it lives on every day and in everything that we do. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to their excellencies and ambassadors, high commissioners, and representatives of the international community for joining us today on this solemn occasion. Your presence affirms that remembrance is not Rwanda's responsibility alone. We remember together, and this remains a shared commitment. Thank you for always joining the UN family during this period of Kwibuka. Honorable Minister, Your Excellencies, survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, 32 years ago, in just 100 days, from 7th of April to early July 1994, more than 1 million Tutsi were systematically murdered in Rwanda. This was not an accident of history. It was not unforeseen, nor was it inevitable. It was a genocide, planned, incited, and executed. It began with words, the propaganda, and with dehumanization. This was not a war nor a conflict. It was a planned and systematic murder of a group of people. We must say this with clarity and absolute humility. The international community failed Rwanda. General Romeo Delay, the UN force commander in Rwanda, sent urgent warnings to United Nations headquarters months before the genocide began. Those warnings were not acted upon with the urgency they demanded. The United Nations acknowledged this failure. We keep acknowledging this failure. And it's by no means a way that it can serve as a consolation, but it's as a way for us to be determined that never again is not just words. It's actually something that is deeply meant. That acknowledgement must continue to guide us, not as a source of shame alone, but as the foundation of a renewed and unbreakable commitment. Never again, not just as a slogan, but as a living obligation. Honorable Minister, Your Excellencies, survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the story of Rwanda since 1994 is one of extraordinary resilience and transformation. Through visionary leadership, the strength and determination of its people and institutions grounded in unity, Rwanda has rebuilt with the deepest wounds. Rwanda's journey teaches us that reconciliation is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of courage. Unity and reconciliation are not defined by sorrow. They are defined by strength. The philosophy of Ndi Umunya Rwanda, which means I am a Rwandan, has anchored national unity in a shared sense of humanity rather than division. And the Gacaca courts, the community-based system of justice and accountability, have played a vital role in fostering truth, reconciliation, and healing across the country. These are not merely policies. They are Rwanda's answer to the world. Deliberate homegrown choices to rebuild a nation on the foundations of unity and dignity. Honorable Minister, Your Excellencies, survivors, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and yet, as we reflect here today, we also must look beyond Rwanda. We live in a world where conflicts are rising, where division is deepening, where misinformation, hate speech, and intolerance are spreading, often amplified by digital platforms that reach millions in seconds. The lessons of Rwanda remind us that genocide does not begin with guns or machetes. It begins with words, with exclusion, with dehumanization, with the slow normalization of hatred. We must be willing to name these dangers. We must confront them, and we must act early, decisively, and together. As Rwanda has shown the world, the path to peace is not easy, but it remains the only path. Honorable Minister, Your Excellencies, survivors, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we must also be unequivocal. Genocide denial is not a neutral position. It is an act of violence against survivors, against the entire nation. The United Nations General Assembly has formally recognized the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. All member states, all institutions, and all individuals share the responsibility to uphold that historical truth and to reject, without compromise, any attempts to distort, minimize, or deny what happened in Rwanda in 1994. As the United Nations in Rwanda, we reflect today with humility and resolve. In partnership with the government of Rwanda and with the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Minibumwe, we support efforts to promote unity and reconciliation, strengthen social cohesion, advance inclusive development, and ensure that the memory of the genocide continues to educate future generations. We recognize that healing is an ongoing journey, that intergenerational trauma is real, and that Kwibuka, remembrance, is not confined to a single moment, but it is a responsibility carried each and every day of our lives. So the youth of Rwanda, you are the pillars of now and tomorrow. You did not live through 1994, yet you carry its memory, its lessons, and its call. Your generation stands as a living proof that renewal is possible. Mukomere, be strong. The world needs your examples. Honorable Minister, Your Excellencies, survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the 32nd commemoration calls on each of us to do three things. First, remember, so that the truth of what happened is never erased, denied, or forgotten. Memory is protection. Second, unite, so that the seeds of division are never allowed to take root again. Unity is the foundation of peace. Renew our commitment as individuals, as institutions, as a global community to prevention, dignity, and shared humanity. Let this not be a moment of remembrance alone, but also a moment of renewal. For remembrance without action is not enough. We owe this to the victims, we owe this to the survivors, we owe it to Rwanda and to humanity. May the memory of those we have lost guide us. May the resilience of survivors strengthen us. May the courage of Rwanda inspire us. And may our collective resolve help ensure that such a tragedy is never repeated anywhere in the world. As I conclude my remarks, I really want to take note to thank our colleagues from the RCO and all the UN agencies present, FUNSA, that have organized this event. It is indeed such a solemn event. I am sure many of you will attest. You feel a certain heaviness in your heart. You don't have to be in Rwanda to have experienced this. You don't have to be a Rwandan to experience it. But these events really remind us, and they leave a heavy feeling. I end by saying that heavy heart, that heavy feeling we have, should inspire us and make us committed, wherever we find ourselves in the world working, that we say never again. Murakoze chane, turukumwe, mukomere, thank you.
arakoze umuhuzabikorwa w'agateganyo w'umuryango w'abibumbye mu Rwanda, Madame Fatunata, ku ijambo ryiza tugejejeho. Nagira ngo nsabe abari ku buhanga bw'ibyuma baduhe indirimbo y'umunota, hanyuma mugenzi wanjye araza kudusobanurira amagambo make icyo umuyobozi yatubwiraga. Arakoze.
mu magambo y'ikinyarwanda umuhuzabikorwa w'agateganyo wa UN yashimiye guverinoma y'u Rwanda ndetse ashimira n'abanyarwanda umunsi bahagarariwe n'umushyitsi mukuru ariwe nyakubahwa Ministre w'ububanyi n'amahanga n'ubutwererane kubera yuko kuva muri 1994 igihugu cy'u Rwanda cyagiye kiyubaka. Yavuze ngo ndashimira cyane kandi ibuka umuryango ubwawo uvuga kwibuka wabacitse ku icumu rya Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi muri 1994 ko nubwo bari bafite ibikomere byinshi isi idashobora gusobanukirwa ko banyuze mu bihombo bitagira ingano, ariko ko imbaraga z'ubudaheranwa bwabo butangaje bashoboye kwiyubaka ndetse ubuzima bugakomeza mu miryango yabo. Yashimiye kandi bagenzi bacu bakoraga mu muryango w'abibumbye bishwe muri Genocide. Uyu munsi turi hano twibuka ntago bari bagenzi bacu gusa, bari ba papa, bari ba mama, bari abahungu n'abakobwa, bari bashiki bacu n'abasaza bacu. Abo bose bakoranaga umurava kandi ngo amazina yabo ntazibagirana. Yafashe umwanya ashimira abambasaderi ndetse n'aba high commissioners, abayobozi bakuru bahagarara ibihugu byabo n'imiryango mpuzamahanga baje kwifatanya natwe uyu munsi. Yavuze yuko kuva muri 1994 u Rwanda rwagiye ruba isoko y'amahoro ahantu henshi hatandukanye ku isi, kandi ko inkuru y'u Rwanda y'ubudaheranwa n'impinduka zitangaje binyuze mu buyobozi bwiza byatanze icyerekezo ku bantu benshi batandukanye. Yashimye gahunda n'imyumvire ya Ndi Umunyarwanda yashinze imizi igahinduka identité y'igihugu cyacu ishingiye ku bumuntu dusangiye aho kuba ku macakubiri. Yashimye gahunda y'inkiko gacaca aho zagaragaje ubutabera n'uburyozwa cyaha kandi biciye mu miryango mitoya. Kandi yavuze yuko Genocide itatangijwe n'imbunda n'imihoro, ahubwo yatangijwe n'amagambo ya propagande yagiye abaho ndetse no gukumira bamwe mu banyarwanda no kubambura ubumuntu byagiye bibaho. Yongeye kuvuga ko guhakana Genocide ari intambara dukwiriye kurwana twese tutabogamye. Yavuze ko ari igikorwa cy'urugomo kubarokotse Genocide no ku gihugu cyose muri rusange, kandi ko inteko rusange y'umuryango w'abibumbye yemeje ku mugaragaro ko Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi muri 1994 ari icyaha ndengakamere, ko ibihugu binyamuryango byose by'umuryango w'abibumbye n'inzego zose bafite inshingano yo kubahiriza icyo cyemezo cy'amateka. Yavuze yuko umuryango mpuzamahanga wa failinze u Rwanda utabashije kugira umuryango mpuzamahanga ntago wakoze inshingano zawo, bityo ko abanyarwanda batabawe n'abana barwo. Yarangije akangurira urubyiruko rw'u Rwanda ko ari inkingi za none, kandi yuko nubwo urubyiruko uyu munsi ruriho rutanyuze muri 1994 ko ayo mateka yarwo n'amasomo yarwo ari wo muhamagaro wabo kugira ngo bubake igihugu cyiza. Yavuze yuko bitaba n'abatari bari mu Rwanda n'abanyamahanga bari hano bumva uburemere, cyane cyane iyo tuje mu bihe nk'ibingibi byo kwibuka uburemere bw'icyaha nk'iki cya Genocide n'amateka aremereye y'u Rwanda. Yagarutse ku nsanganyamatsiko yo kwibuka twiyubaka, avuga yuko twibuka kugira ngo ibyabaye bitazongera kuba, kandi nanone twunga ubumwe kugira ngo imbuto z'amacakubiri zitazongera kumera ukundi, kandi twiyubake twiyubake ndetse tubere n'amahanga urugero mu magambo makeya ni ryo jambo yatugejejeho muhuzabikorwa w'umuryango w'abibumbye hano mu Rwanda. Right now we are going to proceed. I will also ask tech team to play a profile story of Emmanuel Rwibutso. Emmanuel Rwibutso is a son of a former UN colleague who was killed in 1994 genocide. So the story is there to showcase the resilience of the survivors and their journey in rebuilding and contributing to the Rwandan socio-economic transformation. Turaza kureba ifilme ntoya iza kutwereka ubuhamya bw'umwe mu bana witwa Emmanuel Rwibutso umwana.
That is the name of his father, his touching on the monument of a former UN staff killed in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. His father, Emmanuel Turatsinze, worked for UNDP. The son, Emmanuel Rwibutso, comes here very often, paying his respects to a man he never got a chance. That is the name of his father, his touching on the monument of a former UN staff killed in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. His father, Emmanuel Turatsinze, worked for UNDP. The son, Emmanuel Rwibutso, comes here very often, paying his respects to a man he never got a chance to call Papa.
I was in my mother's womb 4 months. They wanted to kill her. It was hard. My mother later told me, because of suffering, she once begged someone to shoot her. If that had happened, I wouldn't be here. When I look at this picture, I feel pain. But I also feel something pushed me forward. I ask myself every day, am I feeling the gap he left? The question never leaves me. It drives me.
His story is not an exception. It is one as a story, a nation that looked into the abyss and chose to build instead of break.
The guidance of my president, His Excellency Paul Kagame, is clear. He has inspired us to go fast and far together.
Rwibutso carries that choice in his name, in his work, and in every opportunity his company creates. It offers multimedia services.
We are not walking away from the past. We are walking through it together toward something great.
Now 32 years old, he's proud that he creates jobs for many young Rwandans in a country where genocide ideology doesn't have a place, where opportunities are shared, and he's contributing to its rapidly developing economy. From loss to legacy, Rwibutso's journey is a reminder that remembrance is not just about looking back, it's moving forward with a purpose. In choosing to remember, to unite, to renew, Rwanda shows that even the deepest wounds can give rise to hope.
Thank you. It is a really heavy moment for all of us. But what we can announce here is that we have managed to have a safe and counseling room. And we have protocol and ushers to help us on this. Yeah, so as we are moving forward, I would like also to call Mama Twagira Maria Agnes for the testimonies and remarks by representative of the UN staff and victim of the families of 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Mama, so N'umwanya ni wanyu, tugiye kumva ubuhamya, turagira ngo tubakire uza hano imbere mukatugezaho ubuhamya mwaduteguriye. Murakoze.
murakoze cyane, baje kubasuhuza kandi muhorane amahoro y'Imana. Nitwa Twagira Mariya Nyensi, nkaba nari umufasha wa Turatsinze Emmanuel. Turatsinze Emmanuel bajya kumwica mpereye ku itariki 7 harageza kwezi kwa 7 yamira iminsi 2 cyangwa 3. Noneho ku itariki 13 baraje, hari ahantu hajya gakunda kumpisha mu matafari muturanye wacu, yarabizi ko ari hondi. Baza kuza baramubwira ngo umugore wawe ari hehe, arababwira ngo reka njye kumuzana, nawe akabagira ngo bagiye kumukiza. Batwinjije mu nzu, arampamagaye ndaje. Ubwo bwana bwirukanse umwaha ndaho nuko batangira kumutemagura. Batangiye kumutemagura, uwariri inyuma yankubise n'impera hangaha mfite mu mwobo. Noneho ndamwira ngo mbabare ngo ibyo mfite byose ariko ndeke ngo zana muha amafaranga. Emmanuel yari yampaye ati ndamutse mbayeho nzamenya aho nzayakura, nawe ndamutse ubayeho abana banjye ntibazicwe n'inzara. Mbese ntabwo yibaza ko ashobora gupfa. Nyapfundiye ku gitenge nyahereza iyo ntera hamwe, yari inyuma y'igitanda, we bamutemaraga imbere y'igitanda. Asohoka ataka, abonye bagiye kumwica, mbese inzu yose imaze kuzura amaraso. Asohoka ataka, aragenda, ageze ku irembo mu rugo hari hahagaze abasirikare, baramurashe, bamurasa mu mutwe, iki cyose kivaho. Ako kanya haza imodoka, hari imodoka atundaga imirambo ku mihanda, bamushyizemo. Kugeza umva beshye, nababwira ko nzi naho bamujugunye, ntaho nzi, ariko naratuje nihaye amahoro nabyakiriye. Ubwo rero mbaye aho ngaho nkomeza kwihisha muri amatafari. Hari muturanye wanjye witwaga Murokore, akomeza kugenda mpishahisha, kandi ubwo nari mfite inda ya Rwibutso, ari amezi 4 hafi kuba 5. Ari we Rwibutso Emmanuel, niko namwise Rwibutso Emmanuel. Noneho umutima urambwira ngo ni nsesere muri ruhurura yari imbere y'iwacu. Ubwo ndimo kwenda simbuka, ariko iminsi ruhurura nyijyamo. Maze kuyijyamo baratari batangira kuhakora, hari hakiri ibintu by'ibitovu n'amahwa n'ibiki byose. Umutima urambwira ngo kuruzinda muri ruhurura mu nda bishwanyuke, wicwe na hemorrhage yo kwishwa n'urusasu. Inda naravuye nyikuruza, ndagenda ndara munsi ya kaburimbo imbere kwa Kadafi, nkasanga habariyeri nkiri muri ruhurura munsi. Ntangaho simparenga, kandi sinzi yongera ndapfa kugenda gusa. Sinzi ukuntu n'Imana Jésus-Christ, Imana niyo nkuru. Imana yambwiye ngo nurira ku tuntu tw'utuma twari turi imbere hepfo yo kwa Kadafi, ngo imbere yaho bitakorera Radomosera. Ndongeye nkuruvuye nk'uruzinda, ngeze imbere hafi y'ahantu bita kubara busanga itaka ryarahafunze. Nacukuje intoki, ncukura mbona kanya mpitamo, ariko ubwo ndagenda sinzi yonge. Kugeza ubu ngubu none ngeze aho imbere kubaraho, nibwo umutima waje kumbwira ngo nisanga umugabo wari uhatuye, wari inshuti ya musanza wa Gekera. Ndambutse ngiye kumva numva bariyeri ngo burakeye, kandi ubwo ndazamutse saa moya uba burakeye. Wikeye numva bariyeri ravuze ngo twigendere, ngo nta nyenzi yongera kugira, ngo nta nyenzi yo kunyura. Kumbi baragira ngo bampe inzira. Mba mbonye inzira, nibwo nahagurutsemo ndambuka njya kuri uwo mugabo wari utuye aho ngo munsi y'umuhanda. Nuko ubwo mpageze, ibyo nshaka kuvuga ntabwo nabiceceka ndabibabwira. Iwacu twavutse turi 8, ngiye n'umusaza wanjye wari Burundi wasigaye, nta nijye wasigaye. Ariko urupfu bapfuye mw'abantu, barabanje barabatwara, baragenda bashyira hariya kuri tapi, hirya tapi barabarasa, havamo umwe, undi yari yamaze kwihisha unkurikira. Barabarasa barapfa. Wa wundi ngo nshaka kubabwira buhamya bwe, uyo yaratorotse aza yirukanka mu ntoki, arazaza mu rugo. Aje mu rugo hashize mu kwezi hashize nk'ukwezi, baragaruka bamufatana musaza wanjye, baramufatana bamutemagurira munsi mu rugo. Barangije babwira musaza wanjye ngo namuterure. Na muramu wanjye, umugabo wa murumuna wanjye bishe, aramuterura. amaze kumutora bagenda bajugunya mu kiwobo cy'umugabo witwaga Nseri, bajugunyaho ikintu cyambabaje. Uwo muramu wanjye n'umusaza wanjye nkurikira bapfuye bumva, haje ikamyo y'amabuye iraza barenzaho. Wa murumuna wanjye we bari bamaze kumwica, baraza barenzaho ikamyo y'amabuye. Ubu rero mu buzima mujye mukunda abana cyane cyane, niyo mpamvu abantu turanye bose baramukunda abana. Si nkunda abantu bakora nkunda abana. Abana banjye bakijijwe wenda za mayibobo z'abana, bakajya baza bakabiba bakajya kubahisha iwabo bakanabagaburira. Urumva kugeza igihe intambara irangiriye. Imana niyo nkuru, Imana ni igitangaza. Ni ubwo buhamya bwanjye, simvuze byinshi, mvuze n'ibyo muri quartier bwakwira bugacya. Murakoze.
Murakoze. Murakoze gukomera kandi murakoze no kudutangiza ubuhamya bwanyu. Ntabwo biba byoroshye. Ndagira ngo wenda dusabe ku buhanga bw'ibyuma badushaka ririmbo gato, hanyuma mugenzi wanjye adusemurire abatumva ururimi rw'Ikinyarwanda. Murakoze. Much. The testimony was in Kinyarwanda, but my colleague here is going to take us through on the summary of what Mama Twagira Maria Teresa passes through. Thank you.
Yes, Mama Teresa told us a story that is a testament of unimaginable cruelty. Her husband was killed on 13th of April. The militias came to their family, and then they, with brutality, they macheted him. At that time, my Mama Agnes was pregnant, was expecting a baby, and the husband was working at UNDP. His name was Emmanuel Turatsinze. And today, we also want to witness that the baby that she was carrying that time is here. He's part of the technical team. He's taking photos right now. So she survived and the baby survived. So, but also 8 of the siblings of Mama Agnes were murdered with severe atrocities, horrific death. They died. Her brother-in-law and her brother were put in a pit latrine. They were still breathing. They were put in a hole or in a pit, and then later on a truck full of stones, heavy stones, came and they unloaded all those heavy stones on them. So they died. They were still breathing. They were still alive, but they put those heavy stones on them. That's how his sibling and his brother-in-law died. So she survived by crawling. It was using trenches, road trenches to be able to hide, or drainage trenches to be able to hide. Yet she was expecting, but she, used those drainage trenches to be able to survive and to be able to pass the deadly barriers or the deadly roadblocks that militias and the soldiers of that time had put on the street. So Mama Agnes also thanked the street children, because street children were able to intervene and save some of his children. And he said they were more humans than even people who are educated. So in a nutshell, that's a summary of what she said.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. This is the time for the remarks. Thank you.
Ms. Fatmata Loveta Sesay, Acting UN Resident Coordinator, Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Heads of UN agencies in Rwanda, Honorable Vice President of Ibuka, Honorable Permanent Secretary in Minbumwe, dear survivors and families of fallen UN staff of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me begin by expressing my sincere sympathies to Agnès Twagira-Maria and her son Emmanuel Rwibutso for sharing this moving story with us today. Your courage honors the memories of those we lost. Ndagira ngo gushimira ubutwari wagize bwo gutanga ubuhamya ndetse n'ubutwari wagize muri iriya minsi 100 warokotse jenoside yakorewe abatutsi. Buriya nkuko mpora mbivuga, jenoside ntabwo hari icyaha cy'amategeko gusa, ntabwo ari ingingo zanditse mu bitabo tugomba kwemeza kuganiraho mu muryango w'abibumbye. Jenoside ni n'ubwo bubabare, ni niyo minsi mwamaze iminsi 100, umunsi umwe ukiro n'ugakurikira uwo munsi uzi ko utawurenga ariko ukawurenga, kandi icyo gihe nta nubwo wari umwe, wari babiri. Uburyo rero mbigushimira, kandi igihugu cyose kigomba kugushimira ubwo butwari wagize. I also extend my deepest sympathies to the families of the UN fallen staff who were murdered during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Today we remember those 64 UN personnel that are honored on the commemorative stone erected on these grounds. They served the noble mission and values of the United Nations. We also gather to remember family members, colleagues, friends, neighbors, just human beings whose lives were shattered during the genocide against the Tutsi, because we don't commemorate the genocide. We don't commemorate a crime because no one wants to commemorate a crime. We commemorate the victims of that crime, those who were killed for who they were. In 1994, children became orphans, wives became widows, mothers saw their children die in their arms, patients were killed by doctors, students were killed by teachers. This rainy season of 1994 had transformed our country into a torrent of blood. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to pay tribute also to the brave UN peacekeepers who lost their lives during the genocide, and all those who fell in the line of duty. Today, we also honor the 10 Belgian paratroopers who left their families for a noble mission for the community of nations. They were killed on the very first day of the genocide while protecting the then Prime Minister of Rwanda, late Agathon Uwiringiyimana, who is honored in Rwanda as a hero. Ladies and gentlemen, the colleagues we remember today worked for the development of this country, for the common good, and for the principles enshrined in the UN Charter. The preamble of that charter remains as powerful today as it was first written, and I quote, "We the peoples of the United Nations, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights and in the dignity and worth of the human person," end of quote. It is on days like these that we feel the full weight of those words. For genocide is the gravest crime known to humanity. It was to prevent such horrors that the world pledged never again in 1945 after the Holocaust. It was upon that pledge that the United Nations was founded as a community of nations committed to peace, human dignity, and human progress. Yet in 1994, that promise was broken. While debates were ongoing in New York over terminology and whether or not to intervene, thousands of Tutsis were being massacred each day in Rwanda. Here in Kigali, while the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda, UNAMIR, was stripped of the means to protect civilians, Tutsis were hunted across the country, including members of the mission's own local staff. Retired Lieutenant General Romeo Dallaire later described, as Fatmata said, described the genocide as a failure of humanity, the very humanity the UN Charter was created to defend. And yet, even in that darkest hour, there were individuals who chose courage over indifference and humanity over fear. I would like to particularly honor Captain Bai Diang of Senegal, who alone saved up to 1,000 Tutsis during the genocide, defying orders from New York before paying, as a dignified human being, the ultimate sacrifice. He was posthumously decorated by Rwanda in July 2010. And in May 2014, the UN Security Council established the Captain Bai Diang Medal for Exceptional Courage, a medal that is given to those who demonstrate exceptional courage in the face of extreme danger. Within UNAMIR itself, some also distinguished themselves through extraordinary bravery, saving thousands of lives. In this respect, I wish to pay tribute to the Ghanaian contingent for their bravery. I particularly thank Major General Henry Kwame Anyidoho and Major General Joseph Nar Andinkra of Ghana, who were honored in 2022 for their courage with the National Order of Bravery Medal. On 11th of April this year, a memorial was even erected by the Ashesi University in Ghana to honor the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi and to pay tribute to the Ghanaian contingent in Rwanda. At the Security Council in New York, there were also diplomats who spoke with moral clarity when many others, including the powerful members of the Council, did not. Those are Ambassador Colin Keating of New Zealand, Ambassador Karel Kovanda of the Czech Republic, and Professor Ibrahim Gambari of Nigeria. Those ambassadors were all later awarded the Umurinzi Campaign Against Genocide medal in 2010 by His Excellency the President of the Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Rwanda appreciates the positive role of the United Nations in the unity and socioeconomic transformation of Rwanda over the last 32 years. Rwanda also appreciates the efforts of the United Nations in learning from mistakes of the past. In 2005, during the World Summit marking the 60th anniversary of the organization, the principle of the responsibility to protect, R2P, was established. As a matter of fact, Rwanda served for more than a decade as the co-chair of the group of friends of the R2P in New York, first with Norway and later with the Netherlands. Similarly, Rwanda commends the United Nations for creating the Office of the Special Advisor on the Responsibility to Protect and that of the Special Advisor of the Prevention of Genocide within the Office of the UN Secretary General. However, as the United Nations marked its 80th anniversary last year, that milestone remains both a celebration of achievements and a reminder of unfinished responsibility. Indeed, although the genocide against the Tutsi occurred 32 years ago, attempts to minimize it, to distort it, or deny it altogether still persist. Yet, in September 1998, the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, ICTR, in its first and landmark Akayesu judgment, clearly established that a crime of genocide was perpetrated in Rwanda against the Tutsi ethnic group. That was in 1998. This was confirmed by the ICTR judicial notice of June 2006, which recognized the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi as a fact of common knowledge, ending any legal debate on the terminology. Later on, in April 2020, the UN General Assembly designated April 7th as the International Day of Reflection of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. And in the same resolution, the General Assembly further condemned without reservation any denial of the genocide. Nonetheless, despite the fact that the genocide against the Tutsi is a crime established by a UN tribunal and recognized by the UN General Assembly, we regret that it is still denied to this day. We particularly regret that even some UN member states resisted the adoption of the correct terminology, thereby fueling genocide denial in academic, government, and political cycles. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1994, Rwanda chose the path of unity, reconciliation, and progress. However, on the other side of our western border, the army and militias that committed genocide were never disarmed. Worse still, they were allowed to operate freely and regularly attack our country, committing ethnic-based massacres like that of Nyanje in 1997. Over the last 3 decades, genocidal militias like the FDLR have found fertile ground in DRC for their genocide ideology. They have been supported, armed, and embedded by the DRC government and security apparatus. In this regard, one should ask a simple question. How is it possible that a UN sanctioned group responsible for a genocide established by a UN tribunal and recognized by the UN General Assembly is allowed to operate across Rwanda's border for more than 3 decades in full view of the very international community that pledged never again, and in the presence of a UN force that is deployed on the ground for more than a quarter century? As a result of the presence of these armed groups, ethnic violence has continued to soar in eastern DRC. State-sponsored hate speech against the Congolese Tutsi, including the Banyamulenge, has been voiced by senior government officials on official platforms using the same language, the same words, the same codes as those of the period preceding the genocide in '94. Rwanda therefore calls on the United Nations not to fail this region once again, but to stand firmly against hatred, injustice, and the seeds of genocide. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to conclude by reaffirming the importance of remembrance. A few years ago, His Excellency the President reminded us that we should remember the past, but also remember the future that we had committed to, a future of unity and renewal. As we remember to keep alive the flame of hope, we should also speak up against hate, against racism, against anti-Semitism, against discrimination, against persecution, and most importantly, we should speak up against the indifference of those who are in the capacity to act. Let me thank once again the UN Resident Coordinator and the UN Rwanda leadership for organizing this important commemoration. As we continue to honor our loved ones in these 100 days of Kwibuka, let us continue to remember, unite, and renew. I thank you.
magambo make nyakubahwa Minisitiri w'Ububanyi n'Amahanga ndetse n'Ubutwererane yatangiye ashimira abarokotse Genocide kubw'ubutwari n'ubudaheranwa. Yashimiye by'umwihariko Madame Agnes waduhaye ubuhamya, amubwira ko yabaye intwari mu minsi 100 yose kandi byari bihe yaratwite. Ibiya bivye mu Kinyarwanda agomba kubivuga mu Burundi ruri mumenya, ariko reka tubikomeze mu Kinyarwanda. Mu ijambo rye yavuze ko tutibuka Genocide nk'icyaha gusa cyanditswe mu mategeko, ko ahubwo ari ubuzima bwacu bubabaje bw'amateka yacu, aho umwarimu yicaga abana akwiriye kwigisha, aho umuyobozi yagambaniraga abakwiriye gukorera. Ndetse yavuze yuko nanone muri iki gihe kwibuka abari mu ngabo z'umuryango w'abibumbye bapfuye bashaka kurengera ubuzima bw'abatutsi benshi. Yavuze ababirigi 10 uyu munsi nanone twibuka bari bashinzwe kurinda wari Minisitiri w'Intebe icyo gihe, nabo bishwe ku itariki ya mbere, ku itariki ya 7, ku itariki ya mbere ya Genocide, ku itariki ya 7 z'ukwa 4. Avuga ko ariko hari ababaye intwari. Yavuze by'umwihariko yuko wari uyoboye ingabo za Minuar icyo gihe witwa Romeo Darel, General Romeo Darel, yavuze muri mu nteruro yuko ari ubumuntu bwatakaye. Avuga abasirikare bo muri Ghana, yavuze amazina yabo, bahawe ndetse medaye cyangwa se imidari yo kurengera abantu. Igihugu cy'u Rwanda cyatanze iyo midari y'abasirikare kubera ko bakijije abantu. Yavuze Kapitene Mbaye Ndiaye bashije kurokora abatutsi barenga 1000 ndetse bikamuviramo no gutanga amaraso ye agapfa, ariko ko yaje nyuma ari igihugu cy'u Rwanda cyaramwubashye postmortem, no kuvuga nyuma yuko atakiriho. Ariko nanone haza no kuba umudari ku rwego rwa UN uhabwa abarengera ubuzima bw'abandi, umudari wamwitiriwe. Yanashimiye abambasaderi bamwe na bamwe bari muri UN babashe bavuga ko ibyaha byakorwaga mu Rwanda ari Genocide. Avuga yuko n'u Rwanda narwo rwabashimiye. Yavuze ko ubwo UN yizihiza imyaka 80 mu mwaka ushize, harimo ibyo kwishimira UN yakoze, ariko ko harimo n'ibindi bitarakorwa. Yongeye kwibutsa amatariki ko itariki 7 za Mata za buri mwaka umuryango w'abibumbye wayemeje nk'itariki yo gutekereza no kongera kwibuka Genocide yakorewe abatutsi mu 1994, n'inyito yayo iba gutyo, ko ariko hari ababyirengagiza bagahakana. Yavuze ko bitangaje ko ku mipaka yacu mu bihugu duhanye imbibi hari abagishaka gukomeza umugambi wa Genocide. Avuga ko hari abanyamurenge benshi bicwa bazira uko baremwe, kandi hariyo ingabo z'umuryango w'abibumbye zimaze imyaka irenga 25. Yavuze ko ubwo twacanye urumuri nanone rw'ibyiringiro, dukwiriye kwiyemeza kuvuga tukarwanya ahantu hari hose hari akarengane ndetse n'urwango. Mu magambo makeya niryo jambo ministre yatugejejeho.
Thank you so much, Didier. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, Government Representative, UN Resident Coordinator, Excellencies, a member of the Diplomatic Corps, representative. This is the time of remembering and a time of laying a flower to our beloved one. And we are going to request the protocol team to help us on this moment, and we are going to follow the list as we have it here. Honorable Minister, you're welcome to lay the flower to our beloved one. The UN coordinator, Fatunata, you can follow. A representative of Minubumge, kindly come forward. His Excellency Prof. Charity Munyeruke, Ambassador of Republic of Zimbabwe to Rwanda and Dean of Diplomatic Corps. Thank you. A representative of Senate.
So meanwhile, we can play a slow music as we continue to request dignitaries to lay their wreath as we remember the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi.
Representative of the family, kindly come forward. Family Rutagambga. Protocol, you're going to help us on this moment. Family of Kanamugire Fulgence. Umuryango wa Kanamugire Fulgence. Umuryango wa Family Gahima Medal. Representative of Wibuka. Thank you. Famille Bushayija, umuryango wa Bushayija. Namwe mwakwegera imbere tugashiraho indabyo. Barakurikirana famille Kalenzi Karake. Hakurikireho famille Ngirumpatse. Famille Mazimaka Hassan nabo bakurikira. Hakurikiraho famille Songa Sylvestre. Murakoze. Hakurikiraho famille Makuza. hakurikireho famiye Rushemeza, famiye Rushemeza barakurikirana famiye Karine Karambizi.
After families representatives, we'll proceed with the heads of UN agencies here present. So I will read the heads of UN agencies alphabetically. We'll start with the representative of Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Followed by IFAD, International Fund for Agriculture Development. Followed by International Labour Organization, ILO. Then the International Organization for Migration, which is IOM. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, CHR. UNAIDS, the United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS. UNDP, United Nations Development Program. The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, for the next. United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA. You are the next. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR.
We can also request the ambassadors and diplomatic corps to come forward.
The UN agencies that are still being called upon, we're still continuing. So we did not forget any. So we have a complete list that is exhaustive. We're just waiting for the traffic to be eased that side.
United Nations Children Fund is going to be followed by UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and followed by UN Women, United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women. Followed by World Food Program, thank you, WHO, World Health Organization, WHO is going to be followed by UNDSS, thank you. The following is the UN Global Compact. Is going to be followed by IRMCT, International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunal.
We have representatives of Family Masabo, abavandimwe cyangwa abaje kwibuka umuryango wa Masabo, namwe mushobora gutambuka kugira ngo ushyire indabo kuri iriya memorial. Funsa Chairperson, Mr. Clement Kirenga, on behalf of all staff members.
turagira ngo kandi dusabe imiryango yaba yazanye indabyo ko nayo yakwigira imbere igashiraho indabyo. Families of the UN staff victims of the genocide against the Tutsi and all who brought their wealth, please come forward. And we are going to follow with all UN staff. All UN staff.
Abakozi bose b'umuryango w'abibumbye mu ma agence atandukanye, mwese namwe mushobora guhaguruka, protocol iraza kubafasha. All UN staff members, please come forward to lay your wreath as well. So ushers will help us to do it in order. And after laying wreath, we'll come back to our seats for the next part of the program.
twumve twana twanjye n'abarazurukundo murarugira intego mwese aho mujya hose rubabe rumutako mwiza rubara ngarama bari
muzabona ibibagora bizakagutambamira urwo rukundo
murabe maso hatagira umwanzu bacamo icyanzu
murakomeze mutwaze ntabwo nzabahana
nzagumana namwe nsimbura ibibarwanya
wa mwanzi w'icyatwa ubagarura mu cyaha nzamukubitija njamwimure
muhumure naratsinze nemekuru ntihagire ikibaka murizihirane cyane mumenye kunda umwanya wanjye ntibaguhinda kandi umusanga ntukabikangwe ujye umpamagara nanjye nze tujye tujyana niyashiri n'insazi ururumureba niba kandi usanga ari wowe ujye umuhungu ujye unyambaza nkuvure namurumurwa muhumure naratsinze n'imikurukundo ntihagire ikibaka
If there is anyone else that is remaining, so I'd like to call upon him or her to lay a wreath as well. We'll ask also the members of our security team, the guard walls, the members of the protocol, anyone else remaining, any family member that would not lay a wreath, please step forward. Let us honor and pay tribute to the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
turagira ngo kandi twahamagare famiye ya Songa Sylvestre ko nabo bakwegera imbere it's over. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Rwanda, who is also our guest of honor, UN Resident Coordinator, Excellencies, government officials present, families of colleagues who were killed during genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 in Rwanda, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of all UN staff in Rwanda, I wish to express our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you, especially the government of Rwanda represented by you, Honorable Minister, for joining us today in honoring our colleagues who were killed during genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. We are profoundly honored by your presence and powerful remarks and testimonies, moving testimonies, and we extend our sincere appreciation to all dignitaries, partners, and members of the Diplomatic Corps for standing with us in remembrance and unity. We are especially grateful to the families of former colleagues who lost their lives during the genocide against the Tutsi. Your courage, your testimonies, your continued resilience remind us why we must never forget and why we must continue to renew our collective commitment to remember, unite, and renew. To all UN staff and heads of agencies, thank you so much for your financial contribution, solidarity, and dedication to this event. As we live here today, may we carry forward the responsibility to uphold human dignity, to fight hatred in all its forms, but also embrace diversity and inclusion and fight discrimination, and to ensure that such atrocities never happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, let us all continue to stand together in remembrance, in unity, and in renewed commitment. I thank you all. Have a great evening. Twibuke, twiyubaka.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairperson of FUNSA, for your thoughtful vote of thanks. As we are bringing the commemoration to a close, let us carry the profound lesson of Kwibuka 32 in our hearts. May our colleagues, may our corrective remembrance deepen our humanity, strengthen our unity, and guide our every action. Together we reaffirm our shared responsibilities to protect life and uphold dignity, building a future in peace, resilience, and hope. Thank you all thank you all and have a peaceful evening. Thank you.
Murakoze cyane, mugire umugoroba mwiza. Mukanya mu gihe dusohoka turaza kureka abashyitsi bacu abari bo babanza, ariko n'abandi dukomezanye muri ibi bihe byo kwibuka. Umugoroba mwiza.
Murakoze.
Tech team, we need a song as we are wrapping up. Thank you.
wanze kwira twibuka ijoro